Hey guys, off the top rope, off the Mike Sports Network, and one more big picture video here on Revolution. Um, because, and I'll have some more reaction, as we get through the week, because there's going to be some stuff that big picture outside of this, what I'm about to talk to you about. But one thing that I need to address here in regards to AEW pay per view events is they have got to do two things. Number one, they've got to decrease the number of matches that they have on these shows. And number two, they need to bridge the gap and have more of a break in between each match. Because too often on these shows where they start with a pre-show at 3:30 local time and it goes until 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. So you're basically talking about 5.5 hours, 5.5 hours of content with next to no break whatsoever, no gaps, no way, no opportunity for people to go to the bathroom, no opportunity for them to go get a beer. I understand that a lot of people are critical of what WWE and how they manage their premium live events. The last couple of the premium live events have been 4 matches and it's gone 3.5 hours. I would much rather have that type of a show. Granted, maybe shrink the ad breaks down a little bit to give your fans a chance to, cool down. Because here's an example: the Jade Cargill run in, not heel turn, but the Jade Cargill run in with revealing that it was Naomi, Bianca Belair winning the Elimination Chamber. We had a big old gap. I don't know how long it was. There's probably an account that could calculate that. And if you have that account, you're a loser. Um, but it allows you to, kind of catch your breath saying, holy shit, Jade Cargill came back. Holy shit, Bianca Belair overcame the odds. Holy shit, Liv Morgan took a braid shot to the fucking and freaking killed herself and had a star-making performance in the chamber. Roxanne Perez looked great. You were able to sit down and really think about these matches and be like, oh, that was really cool. And then, hey, if you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. If you need to, get an adult beverage when you're at an event, go do that. If you're with your kids, hang out with your kids for a moment and have a moment with them to, say, hey, what you like about, like, just, that little type of stuff. What AEW does is they just blitz through this whole thing, 9 matches from start to finish, like just throwing everything in your face, and there's no chance for you to calm down. Where you get to the, 8, 9 o'clock, the 8 p.m. Pacific hour, and Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher are having this insane match. And maybe this is why they had to do all this crazy shit in their match, because the crowd for a large chunk of this match was dead for a cage match. And then the main event, because it was boring as shit, Jon Moxley, Adam Cope, the crowd was dead for like 90% of this thing because they're just tired because they've been there since 3:30 in the afternoon out here on the West Coast. So there's got to be some sort of median. And like, I kind of would have gotten this if they were still at the 4 when they had the big 4 shows where there were only 4 pay-per-views. There was Revolution, there was Double or Nothing, there was All Out, and then there was Full Gear. Those were the only 4 pay-per-views that they did in AEW's infancy. But since like last year, they've introduced multiple new shows. Like they had Forbidden Door a couple years ago, but then they added Dynasty, they added Wrestle Dream, they added all these other things that to their pay-per-view show, and now they're up to what, 9 pay-per-view events per year? You don't need to have 9 matches on every single show, because then you're going to run into situations like, what the fuck are the Outrunners Hurt Syndicate doing on this show? That was not good. Like, you don't need that. All due respect to Mercedes Moné, and she had a great wrestling match against Momo Watanabe. That didn't need to be on pay-per-view. Did not need to be on pay-per-view. We knew Mercedes was going to win. Why did that need to be there? Like, you could go to 6 or 7 matches. Like, I'm probably at about like 6 to 7 is where my perfect medium is for a show. I understand Triple H likes it at 4 or 5, which I think is maybe a little bit too little, but for the bigger shows, he goes up to about 6 or 7. So for SummerSlam, I think he was at about 7. And then, like, I think for both nights of WrestleMania, I think he had about 6 or 7 each night. So to me, AEW has just got to figure out a better way to pace their shows, because too often, I think I've started to notice recently, especially, is at the end of these shows when the time is right for that main event where you need the crowd to get you through. These crowds are dead as shit. And it doesn't help that You put on a spectacle or just a terrible show that was John Moxley and Adam Copeland at the end of that show. So listen, like they'll do what they want. And I think, Tony Khan will probably like to tell you that he wants to give you the bang for your buck for $50. Listen, I understand, hey, he's conscious about, the money and it being the bang for the buck. And, on some level, even though I'm not necessarily the biggest Tony Khan fan, as you guys know on here, I I get where he's coming from, but there's a better way to do this. Because one, you need to shrink down these cards. Not everybody needs to get on these shows. You don't need to put like 4 random pre-show matches. You don't need to do this. Because like I said, you have 9 pay-per-views. 9 pay-per-views now. You don't have 4 anymore. You have plenty of opportunities. And being on these shows should feel exclusive and should feel, like an accomplishment. Also, why the hell is Daniel Garcia, the TNT champion, not being able to get, pay-per-view time? I That being said, I'm not the biggest Daniel. Like, I get why Daniel Garcia is not everybody's cup of tea. I think he's kind of bland as a personality. He's a great wrestler, but that champion can't get on this show. So it should be reserved for your best storylines, the best stories that you are telling, and that's the problem with AEW. They don't have a whole hell of a lot of them, so they just spam everything that they think that could make a good pay-per-view match, and just do whatever they want. And to me, when you do that and compound it with the fact that there are no breaks in between any of these matches, you just risk burning your fans out. And that's what I think kind of happened at portions of this show, because you're putting matches on, like, and there's no reason for a Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher steel cage match for fans to be that quiet. Granted, they woke up because of some of the insane shit that happened in that match, which wasn't exactly for me, but if it was for you, good for you. But it's just, they've got to find a medium here, and they've got to find a better way to do this, because this has been a problem with them for a while. It's starting to be picked up by a lot of podcasters and a lot of streamers and a lot of content creators like myself. And I've been on this for a little bit too, because it just feels like some of these shows just drag forever. And if you're on the East Coast, God bless you. God bless you. Because at the time of this recording, it's 9:30 Pacific time. It's 12:30 for people on the East Coast. So God bless you if like you're staying up this late on basically a school night or a work night to watch this. It shows how dedicated of a fan you are. That's way too much. You could easily end these shows in 3 hours. You could go off the air at 11 p.m., 8 Pacific, and be fine. And then, next pay-per-view, reload it up, do the 6 or 7 best matches. It doesn't have to be like, okay, we have to stick to 9 and we have to blow through every single one and make every single one epic. I'm not saying that you can make these great matches, but you don't have to spam it up with all this crazy stuff in it to the point where you're just going on so late and you're doing so much that you're just going to burn out your audience. So anyway, thanks for this public service announcement. Hopefully you guys can get this to Tony Khan, because nobody's getting through to him, but he's going to do what he wants. He's a billionaire. He runs a wrestling company. Better him than me. Better him than me. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.